ladies and gentlemen, we are here yet again for another amazing episode of the Good Service Podcast. Those of you joining us for the first time, I'm your host, your loving host, Joseph Dunham, also known as Joe D. If you're visiting us for the first time or listening and watching, we at the Good Service Podcast are your source for wholesome stories, good news, positive stories around the amazing works that service-based organizations, nonprofits, charities, fundraisers, foundations, even some for-profit companies do have a mission for social impact and taking care of their communities. We're your place for the inspiring and wholesome stories that you're just not finding each and every day. Unfortunately, we do live in a world of gloom and doom and bad news sells, but not here at the Good Service Podcast. So we are your light in the dark, if you will. For those of you that continue to join us and continue to show us love and the subscribing and the sharing and the liking and the referring. Yes, the referrals of organizations, because we can't meet them all and talk about them and lift them up without you. We thank you for all that you've done. You are a big driver in what we do here each and every day. So that is us. That is me. Enough about us. Enough about me. Let's get to talking about the amazing organization led by the amazing person on the other side of the screen, the other side of the airwaves today. So today's guest for the Good Service Podcast, we're excited to welcome Kristina Newton, social innovator, nonprofit founder, advocate for youth empowerment. Kristina is a visionary behind Hype Incorporated nonprofit organization based here in Atlanta that creates safe, inclusive, and empowering spaces for young women of color in technology, leadership, and entrepreneurship. With her background in corporate leadership and her passion for bridging opportunity gaps, Kristina has built a platform that not only inspires, but equips the next generation of change makers. She's here to share her journey and the mission of Hype and what it really takes to create systemic change through service. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Kristina Newton. And the crowd goes wild.
Thank you.
You are
excited to be here.
Yes, we're so excited to have you. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
So, just overjoyed in this moment to be here with you. So those of you who are joining us for the first time, I always like to give a very high level mission, vision, who the organization is. And then, of course, we'll dive in and learn Kristina's story and more around Hype. Hype is it started back in 2014. A study from Google titled Women Who Choose Computer Science, What Really Matters, found that a 91% statistic of relevant factors, so 4 of these, which the greatest difference for girls that decide to pursue technology, computer science, so those pillars, if you will, social encouragement, self-perception, academic exposure, and career perception. So within that article, was really what kind of helped set the foundation for Hype in their education programs. Their program equips girls of color with essential technology skills to prepare them to become future leaders of the technology workforce, while encouraging them to tap into their existing curiosity and creativity to solve real-world problems. They are establishing a diverse talent pipeline to fill high-demand roles in tech and tech-enabled careers, building girls' confidence while focusing on fostering a sense of community and belonging. And they're having fun while doing that, which we can co-sign on. Their mission at Hype is to rewrite the story of tech and to invite and empower every girl to lead the industry forward. They are building a new narrative, one where every girl has the opportunity, access, and confidence to lead in technology and beyond. Their vision is to envision a world where every girl belongs in tech, leads with purpose, and builds better futures for us all. Because let me tell you, as a man, I definitely need my sisters to help me out, to be better, to see better, to all the things. So we need you in tech. We love you in tech. And last but not least, their purpose is to exist to make the world of technology more inclusive by empowering girls to explore, create, and lead with confidence and community. They believe that technology shapes the future. If you haven't looked around you, it definitely does and will continue to, and that their scholars deserve to shape it. At Hype, they equip the next generation of innovators with skills, mentorship, and support they need to thrive in the digital economy and to lead with purpose. So that was a mouthful, but we do it again and again and again and again. So let's get hyped. I'm hyped. I know you're hyped, but like it's time to really dive into hype. So take us back, Kristina. When did all of this start? You deciding to say, hey, there's an opportunity to not just start an organization, but to make a difference for women in tech, and that leading into the creation of Hype 12 years ago.
Yeah. So yeah, starting the organization was never the goal. So I'll start there. Wasn't something that I, initially set out to do. And so a lot of what established Hype and a lot of the foundation for what Hype is, who we serve, why we exist, and the way that we support girls comes from the experience that I had as a computer engineer. So I started my journey, trying to take advantage of the financial stability, the tech bubble, all of the things that were taking place. I started my career as a computer engineer in 2006. And I would say not too long after working as a technology consultant, I began to, feel just lonely. It was very clear that I, was often the only woman on a lot of my projects, the only, Black woman, the only Black person, even oftentimes on a lot of my projects. And while the money was good, and as a tech consultant, I traveled a lot. So all the perks were good, the airline miles, the hotel points, all of those benefits. Being someone who had just graduated college, from the outside looking in, you would think that, I had it made. I was living the good life. But the financial, aspect of a technology career is really only part of what makes the entire individual, feel whole and feel like they're doing work that's purposeful, or feel like this is a career, path for them versus just a job. And so, about 5 to 6 years in, that my job started feeling like a place that I resented going to. I just am spending 8+ hours a day, working this job, and I'm crying on my way to the office because I just really don't want to be there. And I'm a young professional. This was not the way that I wanted to spend the rest of my life. I started by really, not being selfish, but just thinking about myself, and what's your purpose? How can you do work that you're excited about every day? Where is it that you can have the most impact and feel fulfilled, at the same time? And while I didn't discover that, I think I'm doing it now, but while that answer didn't come to me immediately, what did come to me was a directive from God to quit my job. And I had no answer for what comes next. And the day that I quit my job, this was in 2012, the end of 2012, the day that I quit my job it was the scariest thing that I could have ever done. But I knew that this was a fork in the road for me, where I can choose to either listen and obey what God was telling me to do, or not knowing what's on the other side of either choice. I just knew that was the choice.
Yes, absolutely.
And so the choice that I made that day was to quit my job. And what came after was was a few years of being unemployed, but an opportunity to become a missionary. So in 2013, I, became an international missionary through this organization called Adventures in Missions. And I spent 11 months overseas. I traveled, 1 month. I traveled each month to a different country. So I went to 11 countries over the course of 11 months, living out the directive that Jesus left us with,
Yeah.
in the word to, go out and make disciples of all nations, and really kind of living in a way that, that I saw represented in the Bible.
Yes. Yes.
And so spent 11 months doing that. 11 different countries, served different nonprofits or churches or organizations who were, serving their community and really working to make believers, and to create disciples in the areas that they lived in. And after that mission trip was over, I came back home to the States. Still not sure, how I'm going to make money. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
job part? But also not ready to immerse myself, back into just the culture that I, had experienced prior to leaving. Like I spent a year giving up, all of my comforts, and all, of my desires to make money and losing all of that and coming back home, just being overstimulated by life in Atlanta. I decided that I wasn't ready to go back to work. Um, and I stayed in Gainesville, Georgia to serve at Adventures in Missions while I figure out, what am I supposed to do? Am I going to be a missionary overseas forever? Am I going to go back into the field? Do I need this tech degree and this background for anything? Maybe that was a waste of time. And after, 2 or so years working at Adventures in Missions and helping them, train up new missionaries and get them prepared to lead and to be leaders and or disciples even in the workplace, in the workforce, God began to show me that there is a specific purpose for my life. There was a reason why I went to school for computer engineering. There's a reason why I had the experiences that I had and I felt the way that I felt in the workforce. And there's a reason why he allowed me to build this sensitivity and this desire to really kind of love his people and to support them and to help use my, experiences and skills to build them up. And so that's where hype came from. I started working with, I spent a couple years at Adventures in Missions. I then began to work for another nonprofit organization, very well known nonprofit organization called Girls Who Code. And I loved
Yes.
what they do. And I was like, and I taught their summer camps and I led some of their instructors. And I was like, oh, wow, like that helped me to see that my experience as a woman in tech wasn't isolated. I met other women and other girls and other people who had similar experiences to me. And that helped me to realize the problem wasn't me. And the problem wasn't just that I, felt like I was out of place, or it wasn't just, again, an isolated experience. The problem was the ecosystem and the problem was within the technology workforce and in, the lack of access and training and readiness that, some girls had. And so, even in working with Girls Who Code, I got access to so many different schools, so many different students. I got to learn from so many different families. And I began to even have a more narrow or a more niche view into even within, the all girls kind of bubble. There's another, bubble of girls who come from low income homes, girls who come from underrepresented communities, girls who live in rural communities who have, no real access to digital equity or broadband access, right? And how all of these things at an age that they really can't have, they don't have a control over what they have access and exposure to, but how year over year over year, they're slowly being left out of the opportunity to be successful in tech. So that's once I came to that realization, I think that's when God just decided to plant, in my heart and in my head, this is the issue that you are called to address. And so I can't even tell you all the pieces that he put together. I mean, all the divine appointments, all the conversations that I had, all the relationships that I made that I should never have made that relationship, and people who wanted to even literally give me money before I had a nonprofit formed, just based on hearing me talk passionately about the issue. These are all confirmations that God put on my path to help me to see that this is my
This is
purpose,
it.
and you're going to start a nonprofit. And here we are actually almost 10 years later. I founded Hype in 2017. I spent
Yes, yes.
years prior to that thinking about Hype and dreaming about it, or, again, kind of going through my own personal journey. But Hype was founded in 2017. And so we're almost 10 years, 9 years in the game, almost 10 years in the game. And I am now the most fulfilled that I've ever been in my life.
Come on, talk about it. Oh, you said so many good things, Kristina. So many great things. It's just like, yes, hindsight, right? Such a beautiful story, and it starts with your courage, the courage to say, all right, God, you said walk away, and you walked away, and you didn't look back, and you kept moving
back, but yeah.
That's a little like we check our shoulder every now and then, but you was walking forward. You were walking forward while you were looking back, just a little every now and then. You got to that next block, like, yeah, okay, yeah. Keep going. But we had the opportunity to meet and have a conversation prior, so it was more of an abbreviated understanding of your journey, and just to hear about the doing service for 11 months overseas, beautiful. Just, and like as you said it, called to serve. We're all called to serve and to make disciples of everyone else through our gifts. We're not here to convert anybody, but there's a quote, and it goes a little something like this: we're here to help each other walk home, right? To find the path, because we're all lost at times in this world, and get on the path, and then help each other walk home. So, just for you to do that, and then get back to the States, and then again reassess for yourself and be honest with yourself, like, hey, like, have some honest conversations around what you're feeling and the anticipation or the expectation of that feeling versus reality, and then saying, you know what, I had such an awesome experience here, let's stay here a couple years. That ended up turning into being with Girls Who Code, which, shout out to Girls Who Code. And there's no wasted movement. God makes no mistakes. And
no time wasted.
Just, as you were like sharing this, I could see you walking down memory lane and the excitement. I'm like, man, like it gets better and better and better. And there was this another clip, a friend of mine sitting up there, pastor said, what everyone has different ideas around purpose. It was very clear in the Bible what our purposes are. We just spoke on it a moment ago. But it's how to help people find their purposes. What's that thing that just either makes you very upset that I wish I could change, or it gives you some sort of just supernatural energy? I don't care what I got to do, I'm going to change it. That's your purpose. That's what you should be you're running towards. And for you, through your journey, to get those downloads and to be poured into and to be built up, to be like, bing, got it, let's go. Even before you had the nonprofit, folks are like, here's a check, here's a check, it always comes together. So just so beautiful of a story, and the organization becoming rooted right from your own experience. I can share with you and everyone else here, like, I know what it's like to be the only Black person either in the classroom or professionally. I'm in tech sales, so I'm always one of one. So it's a lot of what you shared resonated with me too. It's more than just a paycheck. Is there longevity in this? What does a career look like? What does me making impact look like too? And that just goes to show the heart you have for what you do, as an expert, but also for the long haul of impact and how to lift others up. So I just love your story. Thank you for so vulnerably sharing that with us. How did you come up with Hype as a name, like for the nonprofit? Because that's a dope name for a nonprofit. Like Hype, like you got the Nikes of the world, you got the Cozies of the world, you got Hype. Ooh, just
So before Hype again was a thing, while I'm trying to seek the Lord for my purpose and things like that. One of the downloads that I got, and I wrote it down on an index card and I put it on the mirror in my house so I can see it every day. And it said that I'm created. I wrote down, I'm created to help others live lives full of hope, void of fear, and driven by love. And so that is what, even underneath anything that I ever would have done, I felt like those three things needed to be a component of me, again, being fulfilled in my work, right? Empowering others to live their lives full of hope, void of fear, and driven by love. So when I thought about the name Hype, so I wanted to have a name that young people, because I know I work with young people, that young people would resonate with, and they could find it easy to say, something that they want to be a part of. And I wanted the word hope. Like hope was just kind of like at the center of it in terms of what we're providing, what we're giving. Because yes, we run a tech program, and yes, we're exposing girls to technology, but I really needed everybody to understand at the onset that it's not about technology alone. There's something bigger, and hope was that thing. So so I knew that I wanted hope to be a part of it, and so I was like, maybe it'll need to be an acronym. And literally, I'm just at home, like trying to come up with ideas and things like that. And I was like, hope, and I was like, I like hype. And so the name Hope for Youth, or the organization, I call our government name is Hope for Youth Incorporated. That's our government name. No, people don't really know us by our government name. That's how the IRS knows us.
Yeah, right.
But to everyone else, externally, HYPE is an acronym that stands for Hope for Youth through Providing, and it's education. And even when, we've recently gone through like a rebrand, being 9 years in the game and better understanding our scholars, better understanding what we offer, better understanding our program and what we mean to the community. So even that like we've decided that we're not going to limit ourselves to just saying that we're Hope for Youth through providing education, but it's actually education, exploration, empowerment, and whatever, other E that you might think of. But like those are some of the pillars is that we offer education, exploration, and empowerment. And so again, like even though that's kind of how we've reframed what hype means, to everybody else, and even our girls, they don't know Hope for You. They don't know what it means. They just know, oh, I'm a part of hype. I'm a hype scholar. I'm hype.
I'm hype. Yes.
Like we love it. We love to see it. So yeah.
I mean, nail on the head with hype in the name, and just again, it's got me hype,
Yes.
and so I can imagine the young women that you serve, they're hype about it, and to say it with confidence and to say it with the I'm a part of hype. I'm a hype scholar. Like, what kind of scholar are you? Right?
Yeah.
Like, just come with a little bit of swag to it.
Absolutely.
I was just like, I was really looking forward to learning about that moment on how you came up with hype, because it's like, man, that's a dope name for any organization, but a nonprofit for sure.
Right.
So tell us more about the programs. I know you have the Leadership Academy, cultural immersion, your summer camps. So a STEM camp, and then a coding camp, and then Hype Bites. So, are all the girls that come a part of those things, or is it a la carte? How does all of this really work? Someone has a young woman that wants to get involved.
That's a great question. Because the programs that that we offer today, it's grown, like since we started Hype. And so, and even like the girls who we serve has grown or changed a little bit because we started just working with high school girls and then began to realize that decisions around what you want to do, what you want to be, what you believe that you can be are actually, made, and those beliefs are formed earlier in life. So we decided to start working with girls in middle school. And you're right, we offer a lot of programs, and our methodology is one where we believe that impact is formed through multiple engagements with trusted individuals who are
Ooh.
helping you explore, your future. So rather than just kind of saying, "Oh, we're going to do a summer camp," and you get exposed to tech, and now hopefully you enjoy it, or hopefully you try to continue along this path, or we're going to do a hackathon one Saturday, and hopefully you'd figure out what you want to do with that later, or we're just going to make this online course available and hope that you have the self motivation to go in and take it. We decided that we wanted to be immersed in the lives of the girls who we serve because that's what they need. Again, that's what we learned, is that is what they need. So we offer a 12-week after school tech education program. And so it's once a week. We have cohorts of girls who join, and once a week for 90-minute sessions, they're learning how to code. We have multiple curriculums. So you might join and participate in a front end web design curriculum. And then the next semester, you're doing another 12 in an AI literacy curriculum. And then the next semester, you're doing another 12 weeks learning JavaScript. So we offer our after school program. It's called the Hype Project to scholars. It's 12 weeks long. We have a leadership academy. That leadership academy is for high school girls, and it's a second phase. So once you've got your education, then we have the exploration. And in the leadership academy, you're exploring your leadership. You're exploring careers in tech. You're exploring women and tech professionals and getting access to mentors. We don't focus on technology in the 10-month. It's a 10-month leadership academy. We don't focus on technology. We focus on leadership development, college and career readiness, workforce readiness.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah. And then the third phase, which might be this, now I'm going to participate in Hype next year. We have a cultural immersion program. And so this is empowerment. Our cultural immersion gives our girls who have developed their leadership or understand the servant leadership model. They've learned how to code. They've gone through one of our tech education programs. They've gone through our curriculum. Now let's empower you to go and give and go and serve and go and do this for others. And the cultural immersion takes scholars, sends them rather overseas. So now you see where my mission trip kind of comes back into the formation of Hype. They go overseas and they spend a week overseas, and they begin to understand something that I learned later in life, that I can have a gift, a skill, a career, whatever, and I can use that for good. I can be a servant leader, you taking the skills that I have. So they lead a 1-week coding camp for other, girls in under-resourced, communities in countries that they have never even imagined they would step foot in. For a lot of our scholars who do the cultural immersion, and again, they're in high school. For a lot of our scholars with cultural immersion, we help them get their passport. We have to educate their parents, on why
Absolutely.
this opportunity is one of a kind. Like some parents, I have to have conversations to say, please let us, give this opportunity to your daughter because it's free. It's free. They don't pay a thing. But sometimes
Man.
the fear, that void of fear, which is part of our mission, the fear of the unknown keeps us from tapping into opportunities that some people wouldn't even blink or think twice, about. And so the cultural immersion is another program that we offer to help girls get that experience. And I mean, they come back changed. They come back more confident. They come back more excited. They come back, teaching and sharing, things with their parents and their family members, and they become role models, amongst their peers. And so those are our three core programs, but then we also do summer camps. We do summer camps for, all students. You might not have been a 12-week scholar or a Leadership Academy scholar, but, there is an opportunity to just participate in a summer camp if that's something that you're open to. And then Hype Bites is not a program per se, but it's an online activity
Yeah.
offering that we give for parents who want to take small bites, of hype and do activities at home that can help them, engage with their, kids or even teachers, little activities that they can do and bring STEM, culturally relevant STEM activities and fun experiments and things like that into the classroom or into your household where you don't need a hype team member to lead that type of activation.
Bravo. Like, come on. Like, it's just the the aha moments and the previous experiences coming back
Yeah.
and being more prevalent than ever with the cultural immersion program. And one thing I love that I think is very important, and from my time working in the nonprofit space, is the education of parents, the
Mm-hmm.
understand the importance of mentorship and that outside of the house, and really what that looks like in the community, and getting that from, yes, my mother loved me, but my mother as a mother couldn't do things that I needed to
Yeah.
learn as from a man or a father figure, and the role models that I had in my life through sports and through school. So being able to really sit the family down and say, hey, like, we're here for the betterment of Joseph, and we see things in him because of what he's displayed, allow us to help you.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a village. And so the intention around educating the family, just like that, yes, like, I don't want to say it's, obvious, but that should be almost square one,
Yeah.
as you're having conversations with your different partners, and diving into different schools to share what you offered. And I could just imagine some of the parents have said yes, and it's probably some of the testimonies that you've received, will continue to receive, on just how it's not only changed their daughters' lives, but also their lives. So when they have something like Hype Bites too, because when I read about it, I was like, I want to make sure I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna let her say it. Basically, if they're at the game watching their child, they know the rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how so my mom was a sports mom. She didn't know all the sports, but she learned over time, and that played into our own relationship, and watching football now at the age of 32. And when I'm home, and she's watching basketball by herself, and knows the name of the game and all this stuff. So, like, from your perspective, that's just so special.
Yeah.
That is just so, instrumental in the success for everybody involved. So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I can't imagine. So if there's a program like this, and when I was in high school, like, hey, you want to send your son, to Budapest for free to go, be a, to go
Yeah.
sit for a week, sign me up.
Yeah. And I say that all the time. Like, this is the type of thing that I wish I had. And to your point, when I first started Hype, the cultural immersion program, it was the main thing that we offered. So we've added, the Leadership Academy since then. We've added Hype Bites. We've added summer camps and the after school program for middle school girls. We've added that. But originally, my thought was, through experience, even with Girls Who Code, is, again, even though our programs are free for the families and the girls who participate, the idea of, I can be a computer scientist, I can be a computer engineer, I can code, tech is for me, was so foreign that to say, hey, I would love for you to sign up to spend your free time learning how to code, with me and not pay anything. Again, like, their appetite for it wasn't strong enough to really bring a cohort of girls learning with me. So what I had to say was to lead with, begin with the end in mind, lead with this shiny red apple for you to look at and say, hey, I want you to spend 12 weeks with me so that I can send you on a free trip to Jamaica where we're gonna, do a service project, right? that was an easier sell for the
Yeah.
student. To say, I want a free trip to Jamaica. I want a free trip to
Yeah.
Nicaragua. I love to travel. And so that was how I got them to participate, honestly, in the program in order to build out, what we see today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I love it. Okay, this is what I love about starting with the end in mind. So I despise cake waivers. My friends know what that means. I'm going to share it with you, Christina, in this moment. Someone that is a cake waiver is like you know, waves it in front of you, the shiny thing, and leads you on to believe, oh, okay, yeah, if I do this, these steps and this equation and put this effort in, I will get said object at the end of all this, right? And it's just a ploy to get you to do something that you actually never ever really wanted to do or had the heart for anyway. So there's a lot of cake waivers out here. Also, there's a lot of scammers out here. So it's
Yes.
like, oh, I can't stand that when people, but being in sales and starting with the end in mind and understanding this as a visionary, right? You have the vision. You've
Mm-hmm.
experienced these things yourself, being over there 11 months, using your expertise, then coming over here and being re-edified in a way and re-empowered as an educator now, not just an expert as an executor, but now as an educator. And it's like, hey, how do you cast a vision to someone that, because of, here in Atlanta and where a lot of these communities are, and a lot of young girls are told that they can be computer
Yeah.
scientists or computer engineers or Java developers, or the list goes on and on. It wasn't until college I didn't know what some of those things were,
Yeah.
and not we don't all get to go to college,
Right.
or university. It's a very important thing to start with the end in mind when you're addressing certain audiences and being able to say, hey, you can think bigger. Don't just think, I want to be a professional one day. You want to be a professional what?
Yeah.
The computer you love typing on and Instagramming and TikToking on, you can build those things. You can be an
Absolutely.
app developer. And that just turns up and unlocks a lot of possibilities for them at such a young age. So I love that you are now in the middle schools. My nephew is a sixth grader. One of my nephews, I have three. The other two are grown. But Miles is 12. Miles is 12. And so it's fun to pick his brain around, what's exciting to you? He loves science and math, loves to read.
Yeah.
So just like having conversations with him, he's a little athlete too, but he's a nerd, and I
Mhm.
love it.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to do something with cars or building, an
Mhm.
architect. He loves Legos. This
Yeah.
man's Christmas list was Legoed out. I'm like, bro, I don't even know where you're going to put all these things, but
Yeah.
you're going to get them because, like, yes, of course, I'm going to feed into that, right? So all that to say, I love that you start with the end in mind, and then that builds that excitement and helps reverse engineer putting the pieces together. Like, oh, okay, 12 weeks isn't so bad for one time a
Mhm.
week and this and that. And by the end of it all, they're like, oh my, they don't even realize, or sometimes they do probably realize the woman they've
They're
become, right? The
blown
leader.
away. Yeah. They're blown away
So,
because, like you said, like not only do they not believe that they can do this, right? That I can learn how to code, that I can have this skill. They definitely don't think that they can teach someone else how
hmm,
to do it, like, and so when we
where do you
help,
think that comes from?
their not belief that they could teach someone else.
Yeah.
I think that it comes from, I think we all, look at things and it seems like you have to be an expert, right? Or
Hmm.
you have to be perfect. One of the
Yes.
things that I learned when I worked at Girls Who Code, the founder, Reshma Sajani, she wrote a book called Brave, Not Perfect. And the premise of that book, and it was, based on, the difference in how women are raised and how young men are raised, or at least, yeah, I think some of these gender roles and, like kind of concepts and affirmations are changing. But historically, her thought is that men are raised to be brave. They're encouraged to jump off the highest, uh, slide, on the playground. Oh, you fell and hurt yourself. Get up. It's okay. Like try this, do that. And girls are raised to be what she called perfect, where, almost before you put yourself out there, um, let's make sure you have all your I's dotted, your T's crossed. You want to make sure that, you're polite and you don't offend anyone. You want to make sure that people see you this way. You want to make sure that you don't embarrass yourself. Oh, you got hurt. I'm so sorry. Let's come in. I don't, let's not participate in this anymore. It's dangerous. And so, psychologically, what that can do is it can keep you from trying things because you assume that, again, it's not for me. I'll never be that perfect. Or, I'm never going to step out and try to teach someone how to code when I don't even feel like I've perfected it myself. I made a mistake the last time I tried this problem. I'm not ready to go, and get in front of a classroom. I hate talking in public. I may say the wrong thing. I'm not going to go and do this. And so I think it's just that fear of perfection, and needing somebody to tell them, it's okay. I believe you have what it takes. And also, like, our educators, I work even for our instructors now, and in the schools where we help teachers lead the after school program, we encourage them because they'll say, I'm not a coder, I'm a teacher. We encourage them to go through the curriculum with their students because what their students are seeing modeled is how to figure it out. And they see their teacher who they've, always seen, like, give you the correct answers, and I'm teaching you all the stuff and I know what to do. But now I see them learning and struggling the same way that I'm learning and struggling. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
really encourage modeling failing in front of our girls because there's nothing wrong with messing up, or getting something wrong or failing or trying something new to figure it out. So anyway, I think that's the reason why someone would think, would turn down an opportunity because I don't think I'm ready for it. And I may never be.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's so good. I appreciate the name of that book. You said
Brave, not perfect.
Brave Not Perfect. I'm gonna have to I'm this list of books and these books over here. Just lock myself in the chamber for like a month and just reading them all. But I'm gonna have to add that one because it just as you were sharing the premise of it, I'm like, yeah, it's always interesting to feel and to learn why people believe they can't do something.
Mhm.
So, especially when they're the first, you're a
Yeah.
trailblazer, right? So it's where
Yes,
do I even start?
that's
Well,
it.
what does that look like?
Never seen anybody do that before. So what makes me think I can?
Yeah, yeah, that exactly. So good, so great. All right, we're moving to the second part of the show. The conversation here is called In Good Light. So, for our first time listeners and Kristina, In Good Light initially was supposed to be a knee jerk reaction, a rapid fire round, just another way to get to know you in a fun way with quick answers, but good questions require good answers. So, none of these answers are quick. So, we just scrapped the whole rapid fire thing. So, we're just going to have some more fun getting to know you. And I'm going to start with you are a dog mom, Labradoodle, right?
So I'm a dog lover.
Dog
Um,
lover.
I used to be a dog foster mom. Like, I used to foster dogs. Always had one or two in my house, and we did get a Labradoodle. So when I got married, gosh, almost 6 years ago, our first Christmas together, we got a Labradoodle. Her name um, was Duchess, but unfortunately, Duchess passed away. Gosh, 3 years ago. She passed away, maybe 2.5 years ago. She passed away right after we had our first son. So, it was very sad. We're still sad, but I'm
Yeah.
still a dog lover and looking forward to our next one. But one of the, if I'm going to see a light, if I'm going to look at this in a positive light, is that, when we had our first son, which was such a gift, and such a joy, and brought so much life to us, was at the same time or right before again that we lost Duchess. So just grateful to have obviously Miles, my Miles. But yes, I am a dog lover. And she
Dog
was a
lover.
Labradoodle.
Okay, got it. Okay. All dogs go to heaven. And
All
you
dogs go to
he
heaven.
had the bestest little life with you.
Yes.
I don't know how people can foster because I'm like, I'm gonna fall in love with you and I just have to keep you.
Yeah.
Like,
The first dog that I had was I failed foster. I failed foster, and I thought I was gonna foster. I ended up adopting her myself. But yeah.
like Do you give yourself certain parameters, like, okay, after X amount of time, if there's not a forever home,
I think
or
I just worked so that they would have find forever homes. But once the Camille was the first dog that I fell foster, and, and once I had her, I continued to foster other dogs. But I knew that I had a dog, at home, so
yeah,
it was easier because you can't have, I can't have 7 dogs. I can't take care of that many, so it was easier for me to just, have a temporary companion, but try to find a forever home for the dogs that we would have temporarily.
little Camille.
Yeah.
Why is it when I think of Camille, my mind automatically goes to the Cosbys? Instantly, my mind just whenever Camille, it's just no matter if it's a real person or a young woman, Camille, or an animal or something, it's just like Camille, and it just my mind. Oh goodness, I love that. I'm a dog
Mhm.
lover. Cats are cool. Yeah, cats that act like dogs are the best
No
cats.
comment.
Hey, hey, hey. No tea, no shade here. No tea, no shade here. So you are a traveler. Obviously, you spent 11 months abroad serving. Where is your favorite place to take a trip? So, trip being you're there for 10 days, there's something on the books, you're going to go see sites or whatever it is. It's an itinerary. Every hour is packed to take a trip. And then, where's your favorite place to vacation? And that's just toes in the sand. We don't know what time it is. We don't care what day it is.
Like, I was gonna say it might be the same place, but it's probably not. My favorite place to take a trip is South Africa. I would say like specifically like Cape Town, South Africa. But if we're doing like 10 days and every day's itinerary, then we could do Cape Town and Johannesburg, in the same trip. But it's my favorite place to go because of that, because there's so much. There's culture, there's history, there's the Nelson Mandela home and the Apartheid Museum. There's also the ocean, and like mountains. Like you get to experience all that in one place. The nature is beautiful, the people are amazing, the food is good. I love South Africa, I love Cape Town. And Cape Town is actually Johannesburg, but South Africa is where I met my husband uh on a trip.
Oh, we
Well,
love a love story. Tell us, tell us, tell us.
yeah, no, I was traveling with a friend to Cape Town, or sorry, we were traveling to South Africa. We went to Johannesburg first, so it was a long trip. We went to Johannesburg first, spent a couple days there, then we went to Cape Town afterwards. My now husband, who is from New York, so when I tell people I met my husband in South Africa, they think that he's South African. No, he's from New York, but he was also on a trip with a buddy, and they were in Johannesburg, and they were doing the same thing. They had planned a trip, started in Johannesburg, and then we flew from Johannesburg to Cape Town. They took a bus like around the coast and made like little stops along the way, but we're also ending up in Cape Town. But we met on a tour. We scheduled a tour, in Johannesburg, and it was a full day tour where the tour operator will pick you up from your hotel or your hostel or a meeting point, and then you do all these things. It's completely guided. It's really great. And on this tour, my husband and his friend and me and my friend, we were the only Americans. So that's another thing, is that when you go there, you have people visiting from Europe and Asia, but we were the only folks from America on the tour. And so we just kind of connected, on that. And we were together literally the whole day. We're having lunch, we're going to the stadiums, we're visiting, going to all these different places. And then we realized that both of our groups were going to end up in Cape Town a few days later. So we were like, oh, well, when we're in Cape Town, we should meet up for dinner. What do you have going on? What are y'all going to do? And so we kind of connected on what we would do together. Our trips weren't together, but we did connect on, oh,
Right.
you're going to go here, you'll do that. One of the things that I really wanted to do, that they also wanted to do, was climb Table Mountain in Cape Town. So on one of our last days of the trip, I climb Table Mountain with Brandon and his friend. My friend was not the outdoorsy type. She was like, I'm not climbing this. It's a 3-hour climb. It's a hike. It's a hike. Um, it's not, and it's not a path. It is literally a mountain, like your on hands and knees and at some parts of it. But she was like, no, I'm gonna stay here and get some rest, or go to the mall or whatever. But I really wanted to hike this mountain. So probably not something that I would advise or that my parents felt great about, but I went and I hiked this mountain with these strangers that I didn't know and just met. But Brandon stayed back, like, to hike at my pace the entire way. And for 3 hours, we just got to know each other, and we just talked about, like, our lives, where we came from and what we do, and yada, yada, yada. And then you get up at the top of the mountain and it's sunset, and, you just feel like this is divine.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sunset. You're in the sky, you're overlooking the ocean, and it's just like, it was a really nice moment for me. But Brandon said in that moment, he knew that he would marry me someday. So,
shout out, Brandon. Shout out. He knew. Listen, men are very simple creatures. We know. We just know things.
Yeah,
not everything, but we just know some things where it's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Shout out.
So we came back home. We dated long distance for a year, and then got married. Virtual Zoom wedding, April 2020, because of COVID. But yes, and here we are.
Amazing. Okay, so that's
South Africa. Sorry, and then vacation. Vacation, I guess. I think it would probably be, I don't know, it would definitely be a beach. I'm really into these, like, all-inclusive resorts now. One of my favorite ones that we went to, on, like, our honeymoon, because we didn't have a honeymoon, again, because it was COVID. But when we were able to travel somewhere, we went to Cabo.
I knew you were going to say Cabo. I just knew it.
Yeah.
I love Cabo.
Cabo was amazing. And we stayed at a resort called LeBlanc. And it was the most, like, amazing resort that I've ever been to. We haven't been back yet, but it's really, well, I think it's expensive, but that's my dream. Like, just relax and be served and feet in the sand, great weather, type of vacation.
Yes. Cabo is such a special place. It has such a special place in my heart. A lot of my friends in undergrad, or certain group of my friends, have all gotten married abroad, not abroad, but destination wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Tulum, Cancun, Riviera Maya, Cabo. Cabo was I'm like, wait, no more weddings in America. Like, we don't want to on a resort. It's basically a vacation, and just like, we just happen to be here and someone's getting married. But Cabo is so beautiful.
Yeah,
so beautiful. Just, I love that. Yes. And the resort, like, all inclusive, changed the game. It's like,
I don't know why I was late. I was late in life before I that was the first time I'd been to an all-inclusive resort. Now that I think about it, was after I got married, and I was like, oh, this is nice.
You got the
get used to this.
You got the restaurants right there. They got the
you need.
But the gym, we gotta go nowhere. So I love it. Okay, some of our favorite questions to ask, some of our staple questions to ask. We'll start with, where does your heart to serve come from?
Man, I don't, I do think that it's something that God, I think, clearly put in me. I think about, it's so interesting. When I was a kid, I think that my heart to serve was misplaced. So I would always jump into other people's fights. I think that's where my heart to serve really kind of came from. I didn't like people being mistreated. I didn't like bullies. I didn't like, I always rooted for the underdog, etc. And I would put myself, not minding my own business, in other people's fights, whether it be my sister or my friend, or whatever. think as I got older, the way that same kind of instinct manifested itself was, me desiring to serve. My dad will say that I've always had a soft heart. So he'll tell you that I've always been a softie. I've always had a soft heart. And he remembered again when I was in college, and I came home because he says he saw it when I would take care of dogs. Because I came home because I saw this puppy on the side of the road that was abandoned, and I took it in, and I'm a college student. I was a freshman in college. I don't have money, but I took it to the vet. I nursed it back to health. I'm bringing it back home to my parents. They're like, "What are you doing with this dog?" But it was just like, I hated to see it abandoned on the side of the road. And so he'll tell me now that he always knew that like I just had a heart to help others. And again, when I was young, it landed me in fights, and getting in trouble. As I got older, I began to develop my relationship with God. I just started seeing that this is something that he wants from us. And again, that was the model that Jesus came to demonstrate, was that our purpose here is to serve. So as I developed a relationship with God and having a desire to be like Jesus, then just the heart to serve it just comes with the territory.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
No, I love that answer. And again, like I see you. I love how you said the heart to serve was a little misplaced.
Yes.
And it was more about this than more about
Yes.
this at the time, because I see you in that. So my mom's aunt, it's my great aunt, she actually now lives in Gainesville, Georgia. So I've got to establish a relationship with my great aunt Karen. We were there this past Thanksgiving. My mom's first time coming down from Ohio. We're storytelling and things, and I was a very I wasn't a bad kid. I was crazy. I was unhinged at times because it's just like, I'm not going to conform to, the man and the rules and all the things. But if I was to tell you, I was suspended every year from 6th grade to 12th, to my that look exactly right. It's like, what? Like, so the character development of Joseph was always, so now it's hilarious. But I had gotten in fights, and my fights were never mine. They were never mine. But seeing someone else bullied and picked on, and I'm just like, you know what? It's time to embarrass this person. Sometimes that did happen. Not that I wanted it to happen, it did happen, but other times it didn't. So like as you said that, I'm like, oh my goodness, like just a misplaced heart to serve. The intention was there,
Yeah.
but it's just we need to put it in the right direction and get the energy
you
the right
know, you
way.
kind of channel, what
Yes,
you were feeling
channel it.
in the moment.
That is so good. Oh man, that is so good. Nah, just a beautiful answer. We appreciate you sharing that. Um, Finish the sentence. The world would be a better place if.
It'd be a better place. I would try not to like be cliche.
Girl, if you don't just say what's on your
But
heart,
yeah, I know. I think the world would be a better place if we, just all okay, I think about this in marriage. I think the world would be a better place if we sought to serve, others and to help them. Again, don't want to sound cliche, but when I think about marriage, and one of the things I've learned in being married is if all I'm thinking about is how can I serve my husband, help him to be successful, support him, make sure that he's not tired or exhausted, or whatever, show appreciation to him. And he's doing the exact same thing for me. If we're only thinking about how we can outserve the other person, then both of our needs are met. And we don't have to like sit in a moment of like bitterness or resentment because I'm doing all this for you and I'm not getting anything, in return. It has to be, reciprocated. But if I'm able to really just kind of focus on how can I just help this person be better, because my needs are being met by somebody else. Somebody's doing the same for me, and I can, channel my energy to do that to other, then everybody wins. And we don't have to be in a place where you're forced, or you feel forced to, let me take care of myself now, because, I now regret helping somebody else, and I'm left empty, and nobody's doing this for me. But if we can all do it for each other, then everybody wins.
Not a cliche, because it's not a cliche. And I say that, and I love that answer, because yes, we have gotten to serve each other and the golden rule before, even the platinum rule before, which is treat others better than you want to be treated. Shout out to Ariel Lomax at hashtag Lunchbag Atlanta. She dropped that gem on us a while ago. It still resonates. But the fact that you use marriage as the allegory there to tell that story, I am fortunate to I'm an ordained minister, an officiant, however, whatever term you want to use. My friends are like, oh, Pastor Joe, Deacon Dunham. I'm like, oh, you guys. But it's a blessing, and never in my life would I ever thought I'd be doing this, marrying any of my friends, let alone who I have. And I have a wedding upcoming where I'll be marrying one of my best friends and his fiance. And so, I take him through. I'm very serious about, you saw what I sent you. So similarly, like, hey, we're going to sit down. I'm going to get the love story. This is also my gift to you is, doing this in the name of God, and him using the gifts and blessings he gave me. And one of my favorite things about it is because, I'm not there yet. I will be as a husband and a father. But to see my friends take this step in their lives, and it's a great constant reminder to me of this is always about service. And Jesus, his bride was the church. He served, he sacrificed, and the church, the groom was Jesus, served, went out into the world, did as it. So that reciprocation, that back and forth, and that understanding that, hey, we're both here to serve. It's really not about what we can get out of it for ourselves at home, actually. Yeah. So just
I don't always get it right. Now I tell you, I do not always get it right, but I understand. I understand what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes.
We both agree on what it's supposed to look like, so that even when we don't get it right, we have something that's anchoring us. To be able to get back on track. So, yeah.
No, I love that, and yeah, it's because there's so many different scriptures that I could pull from, and just to share that example and to build off what you spoke on so eloquently a moment ago. But it's common sense isn't so common.
Oh,
it's sold separately for some folks. So that's not a conversation for here nor there. But the next question I got for you is, what's your definition of good service?
Good service.
I mean, Kristina Newton.
Selfless, meaningful, purposeful, I would say.
Okay. I'm with it. We can take those words, we can put it together. Selfless.
Yeah, look, that's my definition is 3 words.
Hey, listen.
Selfless, meaningful, purpose.
It works. Less is more. Less is more. So I love it. No, I absolutely love it. Well, thank you for joining us for In Good Light.
Thank you. This was fun.
It was good fun.
It has been a while. Since this whole journey has started, but every now and again, I do get to talk. I get to share it, with someone. Not everybody knows how this all started. Every now and again, I get a chance to share it. And I think it's really, it's helpful for me because this is also hard work. And so getting a chance to kind of share it and remember what God has done, and to remember what he's called me to, and to just reflect on how good he's been is what helps us to continue pushing through hard times. So I appreciate this opportunity as well.
Oh, of course. And that's like, it's selfishly, it's cool to see that for folks like you, to take you back so far. And it's like, It's been a while. Let me dust off this old book and let's get
Yeah.
into the lore of it all, you know?
Yeah.
And the why is so important amongst the mission. And when God is that cornerstone, right? And you build it all off of that foundation, you can only win. So we're moving to the last portion of the show. Unfortunately, it's called Before You Go because it's before we go. So, Kristina, this is your opportunity to shamelessly plug away your social medias, the website, all of the things. How can the people, our first time listeners and those that continue and are part of our community and audience coming back, how can they donate? How can they follow? How can they support? How can they get involved as, an instructor for summer camp, right? Like, what does that look like? So the floor is yours.
Yeah, definitely do all the things. Volunteer, follow, support. If you're looking just to follow Hype and our journey and kind of stay connected to what event we have going on or when a new program is launching, you can follow us on Instagram at get hype underscore INC. That's get hype underscore INC for like incorporated. We're also on LinkedIn, get hype. Actually, no, we're on Instagram and it's hype dash Atlanta. You can find me on Instagram, Kristina Newton, and you can visit our website. So we have lots of resources and rabbit holes that you can go down on our website. But our website is gethype.org. And there you can find opportunities to volunteer, to get involved. You can learn about our programs. If you would, when we have openings for needing a new instructor, our summer camps come around and we want someone to lead that's on our website. And then if you want to sponsor a student, so, that again, all of our programs are free for the students who engage in them. And we have a wonderful network of supporters. I mentioned to you, Joseph, before we started this podcast that I just had my partner appreciation breakfast. And our monthly sponsors are some of those partners who get invited to this breakfast. But we have a monthly sponsor program. That program allows us to bring girls through all of the programs, the Hype Project, the Leadership Academy, the Cultural Immersion, again, at no cost, because we're supported by so many monthly sponsors. So if you would like to support, you can visit gethype.org/sponsor hype. And there are 2 different monthly levels. You can set it and forget it. We have a $38 a month level to support one girl through one of our multi-week programs. That can be the Leadership Academy or the Hype Project. And if you wanted to help a student go through the Hype Project, the Leadership Academy, and the Cultural Immersion, then that sponsorship is $75 a month. And so there are 2 different, ways that you can engage, and you can find that again at gethype.org/sponsor hype.
Awesome. Listen, y'all, you found out in that very moment, powerful moment, how to get involved, how to support, and just how to continue to see what's going on over at Hype. So don't waste any time, no matter where you're at in the world. You don't have to be in Atlanta. If this moved you and you want to share that energy, share that love, and be a sponsor and support, even if you don't live here in Atlanta, you were just shared and told how to do so. So, of course, this will all be in the write-up. So you all have that information available to you right away. And I lied, Kristina. This is the very last thing. Closing remarks. What is one thing that's on your heart right now to just share with the world? It can be anything. What is currently on your heart in closing remarks?
I think one thing that's on my heart to share with others is an encouragement and admonition to be brave, especially today. I think that we're living in a society and in a world where there are so many things to be afraid of. And young people, I know that you're, afraid of how you're going to be perceived, afraid of not being a part of the in crowd, afraid of not, being popular, having a different perspective. But, anyone who ever really made a difference, and an impact, had to step away from what was popular. or what was in, and do what they were called to do. And so I think right now, some of that being brave means to speak out when you believe that someone's doing wrong, and not be afraid to speak out. It might mean to not, follow along in a certain direction just because all your friends or family is doing it. Don't be afraid to get rid of your social media because it's not good for you mentally, or socially or emotionally. It's okay to not be in the know for everything all the time, but when you feel the the instinct to do something that's counter cultural, or counter what you think everyone else is doing, follow that. And
Yes.
that is a moment of courage and bravery. You might not know it, but that's what it is. And it's going to take you places that you never dreamt you would go, but you will be more fulfilled in the long run.
Go ahead. Drop that mic, sis. Drop that mic, girl. Yes. Yes. As they say, fortune favors the bold.
Yeah.
But another synonymous word with bold is brave. So be brave and stand in that. I love that closing remark. Thank you for the reminder for me to continue to be bold, to continue to be different, and to be courageous in this walk that God has given us. So we thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. Listen, y'all, I'm your host, Joseph Dunham, also known as Joe D. For those joining us for the very first time, we thank you. We love you. We know you're coming back. Just know you didn't just fall in love with everything you just heard and feel good and want to go serve. Like, we know you're going to be back. So come back and bring a friend, 2, 3, 4, 15, however. Refer an organization wherever you live, wherever you're at in the world, because they deserve their flowers in this moment too. So we are so grateful for you joining us today, for our community that continues to come back. You already know what it is. Thank you. We love you. But with that, we're closing out another amazing episode of the Good Service Podcast. We'll see you again soon. Peace and love.